You guys will have to bear with me. It's about 20 years since I did any public speaking, but luckily I've talked to a lot of you one-on-one, so hopefully that'll make me a little less nervous. Just wanted to say that this is a really proud moment for me to see everyone in the grow community coming together. I think there were always really great small circles of growers that supported each other in Portland and furthered the whole scene. But for events like this, it just really shows me kind of the exciting time that we're on the precipice of, and we all get to go forward with together. Certainly a big change. I remember when I first opened my grow store, seeing my customers run away from me in public places, whether it was Fred Meyer or New Seasons. So I'm certainly enjoying all the change. One of the first things I wanted to talk about isn't a super fun subject for any of us as our gardens become more commercial, but that's the future of pest and disease control in our gardens. When it comes to building commercial spaces, can everybody hear me? I've never spoken a microphone. I think people are going to have to start from the ground up to design spaces that are clean, because I really see a future where we're probably for a while banned from using pesticides till we move more into Department of Ag control and are treated like every other crop, hopefully at some point, or maybe more like every other crop. Ideas I've seen coming in are clean spaces with quarantines as you enter any commercial grow, air puffing to clean any person, probably having some sort of uniform, whether it's a Tyvek suit or just a clean suit and booties. And the reason we're seeing this is now the pests coming into the cannabis world are far more vicious. I think it's probably one of the only downsides of the new openness is genetics change hands much faster, which is great for the consumer and the grower, except for this pest exchange that is often going on. I don't know if anyone has experienced root aphids or broad mites or cyclamen mites or russet mites yet, but it makes us all wish it was fungus gnats and thrips again. I think what people are going to want to look into is what in the ag community is called IPM, which is integrative pest management. It's going to be probably being a lot more proactive in terms of how you treat your spaces than I think in the past. A lot of the issues were taken care of reactively. And I think if we build commercial spaces and treat them from the outset with a smart strategy, prevention is going to be the most important thing. I think there's going to be more biopesticides available. One suggestion I might have for larger commercial growers to look into is someone among your team to look into getting an applicator's license. As we go forward, I think there's a good chance the state's going to require that in some fashion.
Yes, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's just what it sounds like, a state pesticide applicator's license. It's a license to apply pesticide. So I've never taken the class myself, but I think it's only a couple week online thing that you document that you know how to use and dispose of safely any chemicals. The exciting things I see coming up right now, are the notions of tissue culture going on in some of the more advanced scientific teams in town. And that may be a way that we're able to breed our stock without these inherent pest problems and exchange new genetics without these pest problems. The notion is basically that you're able to, through tissue culture, kind of outrun a lot of these pests by just taking these very small portions of new growth on a plant. Another cool technology that just became available to us is from a company up in Washington called AgraAir, and these are more helpful for fungal issues, but it's out of the hospital and building remediation industry, and it basically is a device that creates what's called a peroxide plasma in a garden, and this seems to keep powdery mildew at bay, even if not eradicating it. And it does kind of feed into another issue that I think everyone's going to have to tackle with commercial grows, which is smell. I think Denver is in the midst of trying to figure this out. It's going to be a little different here because I really feel like due to our gardening culture, the 4 plants in everybody's yard might make the whole city smell. But I think as a commercial business, though, you probably have a desire to respect your neighbors more than that. And frankly, you'll probably be creating a lot more smell than 4 plants would. And this agri-air is a new way to address that. In addition to taking out fungal spores in the air, it takes out most volatile smells as well. But I think most gardens are going to rely on the traditional carbon filtration of air. And I think working with people who know how to build spaces so that, they will seal and air will move how you want it to. In terms of HVAC guys are now getting pretty experienced with our world and know how to integrate their systems with our odor control systems. But I think if you go to most of the grow stores in town and work with a competent HVAC person right from the ground up to control that odor, I'm really confident it can be done. It does create some slight inefficiencies in the space, just in terms of moving air and cooling and heating capacities and CO2. But I think in terms of something, I don't think the city of Portland is going to fight back against commercial grows in much fashion, but I think they will probably side with neighbors who are angry because everything in their house smells like weed because there's a warehouse next door. The more exciting thing I see coming up right now is new efficiencies that are coming and will be available to all of you. I think in addition to having access to lots of professionals now, there's way more people working on creating tools for you guys to use in your garden as the gardens expand. I'm sure lots of people, sorry, still not used to the microphone, have moved towards using the double-ended lighting technology and have seen what a double-ended HPS can do, and we're seeing new exciting advances in that. There's double-ended halides now, so one could veg in a space that had double-ended bulbs, which was never an option. LED lighting, in my opinion, is on the edge of being how we grow. The questions right now are the startup costs are so high, and I get a little bit scared when I see very long return on investments for everyone in our community where we don't know where the price point will lie and longevity of any one particular garden build out. Simpler efficiencies that I think will be available to everyone as they move into the commercial spaces include 277 power and 480 power. It's going to be a great way for people to lower their bills. The ceramic halide technology is here and is at a price point. I don't know if anyone has seen that technology. It's in 315 watt ceramic halide bulbs that seem to be producing the output of about twice. Well, I'd say about 80%, 180% that wattage in an HPS or traditional halide. Another thing that I think will be exciting for everyone as you guys move into these commercial grows is, frankly, the manufacturers are far more willing to customize equipment. So as you build spaces and see unique applications for your own garden, we haven't had trouble, whether, like recently, a 502 in Washington to meet code needed all their T5 lighting to have 20-foot unwired cords. And that sort of stuff, once you're ordering in the bulk commercial gardens order in, isn't hard to have made, which is nice. So you now can kind of dream your perfect garden, and it can usually be made for you. Something else I want to talk about, and this isn't, I guess, as much on the building and gardening aspect, but one thing that has troubled me a little bit is when I talk to gardeners, there's almost like a fear-driven obsession with scale. And my general opinion is if people build businesses with strong cores and aren't obsessed just with scale, but are more singularly focused on how their business is unique and keeping their business strong through cash reserves and not overextending themselves, I think that's how the most people are going to build the strongest businesses and make Oregon's cannabis community the strongest. We've seen this experience working with a number of 502s, Washington's recreational weed grows. Oregon gives us a nice advantage to sell into Washington, having no sales tax here. But from what we've seen there, a number of our growers are looking to move to Oregon because Washington's market just hasn't played out that well for them. I have one customer that I saw get $15 a gram for his entire first crop because he was smart and planted a really fast variety to beat market. Now he's getting offered less than $3, usually around $2.60. And he's selling his permit because that's not a business he wants to be in. And I think a lot of that will come down to people managing their scale. So as you invest, you have an idea that what you grow will have an outlet and people aren't overextending themselves. My general opinion is the best way to do this is going to be for people to not always follow the herd and kind of come up with your own niches. I think cannabis is amazingly diverse. The amount of products we can make out of cannabis are amazingly diverse. And then the amount of grow techniques that are out there that I think can really make your products unique. Some ideas, kind of what I was thinking, are, I don't see in Portland's market people choosing ultra long flowering varieties. But probably a lot of us have been to Amsterdam, and I've always been impressed there that the market pays for the length of flowering time. And if someone wants to grow a 140-day plant, you'll see it on the shelf for 20 to 30 euro instead of, 8 or 10. Likewise, I see things like even low THC pot being a niche that people could fill for new smokers. They don't want to get, or they will get way too stoned if they smoke what I smoke, so they probably want something a little lighter. I believe creating unique genetics is a way people are already getting ahead in the market. There's something that probably goes against the core of where we all started to hoard your genetics. But at this point, I think, that is, if you create it, it's going to be your business's IP, and there's a real chance to capitalize on that. Some other ideas I have is I think, in this community, sort of low impact, low energy consumption gardening could resonate with the market. We've even seen gardeners trying to ensure that their gardens are carbon neutral. One interesting garden I know of, and this is actually in California, not here, is dry bed farming. So it's on a river bank, essentially, and it's a floodplain. And technically you can't water earth that's that loamy. So it's kind of a cool thing that even as California goes through this drought, that garden will never water a plant, just takes up what's below in the water table. I think no spray of any pesticide, as in, when I go to the farmer's market, brings people to those booths. I think those sort of ideas will all resonate among Oregon's cannabis consumers. And for me, part of that is we can't call our products organic, but we do have clean green certifying. I think there will be other ways that can be expressed by growers in terms of, if you said no traditional salt used, one can kind of infer from the opposite. And it's my belief that the largest gardens in the state, if large gardens are allowed, will probably mostly be grown with chemical salt just due to the ease of dripping it. And I really do think that's a way people can differentiate themselves. One really nice offer I got yesterday because BioBiz had their whole team in town from Holland, is any commercial growers, they said they'd be willing to, in Oregon, they'd be willing to give enough of their soil and nutrients to test 4 to 6 lights against whatever anybody else is doing presently to try and get more people growing organically. And another idea that's kind of off the growing side is I think any businesses that can be created and, ensuring that you're giving your workers living wages, which is something important to me at Roots. And any way that your business can be employee owned, I think also will resonate with customers. Moving on to some other stuff, it has been really exciting to see what growers can do with a broad array of professionals in Portland, from architects and engineers to HVAC and contractors, and really how much better the gardens can be with all that professional help. I think one thing we should all stand for is not getting price gouged by contractors and stuff. I think there's enough of you out there if you network. I think there are contractors that are really doing fair work for growers. One cool thing we've seen for some of the larger grows that I don't know if people know about are a couple of the CO2 outfits in town are willing to put tanks on site now. So they will come and deliver your CO2 to a super large tank. And there's even a company, New CO2, that I've just heard of in town that will link it into your HVAC system. So I think professionals are providing just better, newer, and labor-saving ways to do what we've always done. I think we're looking to do that at Roots coming up in the future. We're just in the last legs of overhauling our web experience, and we'll be offering delivery for commercial grows where you'll be able to order online and just have your equipment show up the next day. I think as everybody's grows have gotten bigger, people realize time is what you can't get more of. And then kind of the last thing I wanted to say is I just feel like in Portland, everybody has to realize the massive value of the expertise you guys all hold. I mean, I learn from my customers every day. You know, a lot of the very best cannabis in the world is produced right here, and that's because of all the skills and talents of people like you guys and everyone else here. One idea I think to really capture the value of growers is work on your resume, work on it in every format you can, whether it's logging data, whether it's taking photographs. I think if you sit down at a meeting with an investor, the more that you can document your skills and what you produce, I think that'll be an advantage for everyone. And lastly, I kind of feel like at points in my store, I hear maybe an excessive level of fear from some of my most talented customers who love what they do. But I really, truly do have a belief that anyone who comes into this business without y'all's level of expertise needs you guys, and don't sell yourself short. I think a lot of you guys will be able to make great businesses on your own or find great partners to cooperate with. And I don't know, I'm excited for the future. So that was kind of my 2 cents.